Something enormous was filmed near Yellowstone, and now 30 terrifying Bigfoot encounters are forcing answers on camera tonight.
Not rumors, not legends. These are raw moments, caught, frozen, undeniable, where something massive steps out of the trees and into our reality. Shadows move with intent. Eyeshine locks onto lenses. Footsteps stop just outside the frame. From Yellowstone's haunted ridgelines to snowbound forests and suburban backyards, these sightings don't scream myth. They whisper intelligence, restraint, and proximity. Why daylight? Why families? Why now? These encounters don't just scare, they accuse, daring us to accept that we were never alone. The footage escalates, the silence thickens, and once you see what was captured, you won't unsee it.
Before we dive in, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered now.
A calm afternoon hike shifts tone when a handheld camera captures a massive figure moving between moss-covered trunks near a fallen log. The dark body advances without hurry. Heavy fur sways in damp sheets. Arms hang low, brushing near the ankles. Biomechanics experts note a gait adapted for unstable forest floors. Knees bend deeper than human joints allow, dispersing weight so smoothly that even a 3-meter body produces little sound. Shoulder width rivals industrial walls, while a deep chest suggests enormous lung capacity. Yet the movement is casual, almost routine. The figure neither hides nor reacts. It walks the forest edge as if following a route learned long ago. Observers argue this reflects territorial familiarity, not threat response. The most unsettling idea isn't that it appeared on camera, but that it likely stands just beyond the tree line regularly, watching hikers pass, unnoticed because no one ever thinks to turn around. A remote trail camera activates as two smaller figures step cautiously into view, followed by a towering adult emerging behind them. The larger form halts, scanning first. Thick fur hangs heavy with moisture. The smaller ones dart, but never stray far. Researchers immediately note shared anatomy. Long arms extend past the knees in all three figures. Wide torsos and identical posture appear scaled down in the juveniles. This is lineage, not coincidence. The adult positions itself between the camera and the smaller ones, moving slowly, deliberately. Despite its immense mass, footfalls remain nearly silent, weight placed with uncanny precision. The juveniles already walk upright with balance, suggesting learned movement rather than raw instinct. Experts argue this indicates a structured family unit, rare for mammals of such size in North America. If family groups exist, then rarity of encounters isn't accidental. It's the result of careful, intentional survival. A daytime clip from an open clearing shows a massive figure emerging from frost-damaged brush. Its bulk is undeniable. The belly shifts beneath dense, dark fur. Arms hang low in near-perfect symmetry. Despite the apparent weight, field biologists observe a smooth, stable gait, no wobble, no dragging steps. This suggests powerful core musculature supporting the mass with precision. The fur appears layered and damp, likely designed for both insulation and moisture regulation. The creature moves like a refrigeration unit brought to life, yet its pace is measured, conserving energy with predator-level efficiency. There is no aggression in its posture, no visible distress. It simply crosses open ground with quiet confidence. What challenges researchers most is the silence. If something this heavy can move without sound, then noise isn't a limitation, it's a decision. A motion-activated trail camera captures two upright forms entering the frame together, clearly different in size, yet perfectly synchronized. The larger moves first, head slightly lowered. The smaller follows, matching each stride. Infrared light ignites both sets of eyes. Wildlife experts struggle to classify what they see. The proportions are wrong for humans. Arms too long, shoulders too broad, posture upright, yet relaxed. What stands out most is coordination. This is not random coincidence. The smaller figure mirrors the larger precisely, suggesting learning rather than instinct. Fur appears matted from wet vegetation, but their passage leaves little disturbance behind. No snapped twigs, no hurried steps. The smaller individual never deviates from the larger's path. Researchers interpret this as guidance, possibly an adult escorting a juvenile. Such behavior implies social structure, teaching, and protection. If these beings move in family units, it would explain their rarity. Not because they are few, but because they are careful. A fixed security camera records two towering figures approaching a doorway beneath a single stark light in a snowy environment. One is broad, dark, and compact. The other taller, pale, wrapped in dense white hair. Their movements are calm, synchronized. Anthropologists studying the footage highlight striking differences in fur color and thickness, pointing toward environmental adaptation within a shared lineage. The pale individual mirrors descriptions associated with high-altitude, cold region giants, thick insulation, expanded chest capacity. The darker companion aligns with North American forest reports. Their behavior is cautious, but not hostile. They approach, stop short, and appear to assess the structure, possibly scent, sound, or heat. Snow muffles their steps as they move like long-term partners accustomed to traveling together. The presence of two distinct variants side by side suggests something unsettling. This may not be a localized phenomenon. If the same species adapts across continents, how many environments have they already mastered, quietly, without ever needing our attention? A low-angle recording captures a massive form drifting between ancient redwoods, its fur glowing copper under filtered sunlight. Leaves part gently as it passes. Shoulders dwarf nearby trunks. Long arms sweep foliage aside without force. Experts emphasize scale immediately. The figure approaches 3 meters in height, its torso nearly as broad as the lower trunks around it. Yet its movement is unhurried and deliberate, like a walk-in freezer gliding along invisible rails. The copper hue of the fur suggests mineral-rich soil exposure and long-term residence in coastal forest environments. There is no threat display, no urgency, only quiet passage. Analysts compare the behavior to ancient descriptions of forest guardians that move only when necessary. If a creature of this size can remain unseen among trees this massive, how many hikers have unknowingly shared space with a giant standing perfectly still just steps away? A rare daytime recording shows a tall, dark figure moving calmly among leafless trees beside a stream. Sunlight glances off coarse fur. Arms swing well below the knees. Shoulders roll with slow, confident rhythm. Unlike most reported sightings, this encounter happens in full daylight. Biologists immediately note the efficiency of movement. The forward-leaning posture and careful foot placement avoid loose stones and brittle branches. Environmental awareness appears advanced. The estimated body mass is enormous, likened to industrial-grade equipment, yet each step is measured and quiet. Specialists compare the locomotion not to modern apes, but to early hominids adapted for long-distance travel. Notably, the figure does not attempt to conceal itself. It neither freezes nor flees. It simply walks through familiar terrain. That confidence suggests territorial knowledge, not fear. The disturbing question isn't why it was seen, but how often it likely passes near people, unseen, because no one thinks to look twice. A window-mounted camera captures a massive dark figure moving through waist-deep snow in a remote mountain pass. Snow sprays with each step. Long fur ripples in cutting wind. The figure never slips or slows. Researchers point to extraordinary efficiency. Despite its size, the creature redistributes weight with wide, controlled steps, preventing deep collapse into the snowpack. Bone density and musculature resemble large ungulates, yet combined with upright primate posture. The result is a body that moves like a freezer packed with concrete, but endures like a polar predator. There is no sign of struggle, only steady progress. Analysts argue this reflects long-term adaptation, not temporary survival. If something this large thrives alone in such extreme isolation, the unsettling truth may be that entire ecosystems have already adjusted around it, without us ever noticing. A fixed forest camera captures a moment of stillness, something watching from behind the trunk of an old pine. One eye reflects faint moonlight, dark fur melts into shadow, only a heavy brow hints at shape. Investigators note the elongated skull structure, longer front to back than any known great ape. The body presses tight against the tree, minimizing outline. This is deliberate concealment. Analysts estimate a height near 3 meters, wrapped in fur, thick enough to mute even subtle shifts of weight. The creature does not peer suddenly or recoil. It waits. Its posture shows understanding of sightlines, using the trunk as cover rather than obstacle. When it pivots away, there is no sound. No branch snaps. No leaves stir. Scaled-up behaviors seen in elusive primates appear here, amplified to an impossible size. The disturbing question isn't whether it was recorded, but how often it watches, perfectly hidden, without leaving a trace. A fog-heavy roadside video reveals a massive, fur-covered figure standing beside a parked SUV on a forest road. One thick arm lifts toward the door. Mist curls around its torso as it leans in. Its reflection bends across wet metal. Analysts zero in on the hands. Long fingers, reinforced knuckles, and a clearly opposable grip suggest fine motor control. The figure doesn't strike or pull violently. It tests the handle, pauses, then adjusts its angle. Behavior consistent with evaluation, not threat. Despite a frame likened to a walk-in freezer, its balance remains steady and controlled. There is restraint here. Researchers speculate curiosity, shelter assessment, or recognition of human-made objects. Nothing in the movement suggests panic or hostility. That's what unsettles observers most. If it understands how doors work, or nearly does, the implication isn't violence. It's awareness. What other human boundaries has it already examined, learned from, and quietly chosen to ignore? A night trail camera records a massive figure crouched in a forest clearing, gently holding a small white rabbit. The giant bends forward carefully. Broad shoulders remain perfectly still. The animal shows no signs of harm. Primatologists focus on the hands. Despite shoulders as wide as industrial doors, the fingers display delicate control, supporting rather than gripping. This level of fine motor precision contradicts expectations of a creature built solely for strength. The behavior mirrors that of great apes examining fragile objects: curiosity, awareness, restraint. There is no feeding response, no sudden motion. The rabbit is lifted, observed, then lowered gently. Experts argue this moment reveals something crucial, not just intelligence, but choice. If a being this powerful can decide not to harm something so vulnerable, the real question isn't what it could destroy, but what it deliberately chooses to protect. A night vision security feed near Idaho's Payette River catches a pale, towering figure stepping into frame, only to react instantly to approaching headlights. Its body snaps backward, arms fling wide in raw alarm. Then it's gone, swallowed by trees. Movement analysts focus on acceleration. Despite its immense height and dense build, the figure launches with explosive speed, covering distance faster than the camera can resolve. Such motion implies extreme tendon elasticity and muscle recoil far beyond human capability. This is not a charge, it's a retreat. Light triggers escape, not aggression. Researchers compare the reaction to prey species refined by generations of survival pressure. Built like industrial equipment but moving like a prehistoric sprinter, the response feels learned, not improvised. Fear here is efficient. If something this large has adapted so precisely to avoid headlights, engines, and human presence, how many encounters ended before we ever realized something was standing just beyond the beam? A zoom lens locks onto a lone figure traversing a barren ridgeline far above the forest canopy. The silhouette advances without pause. Long arms swing in loose rhythm. The torso tilts forward, perfectly balanced. Even at distance, analysts estimate a height well over 2 meters. The figure navigates loose stone and steep incline without hesitation, indicating leg musculature, built for climbing and shock absorption. Its posture mirrors early hominid reconstructions, but scaled to overwhelming size. No slips, no corrections, just steady progress. Researchers suggest this ridgeline may be part of a seasonal route, used specifically because humans rarely access such terrain. There's no urgency, no reaction to observation, only familiarity. If it moves comfortably where no trails exist, the unsettling thought isn't that it was caught on camera, but that it has always crossed these high paths far above us, while we never thought to look up. A night vision camera lining a narrow pine corridor activates as a massive shape emerges at the far end of the passage. The figure moves straight forward. Branches sway behind it, never snapping. Arms swing low, nearly grazing the forest floor. Reviewers focus on stride accuracy. Each step lands cleanly in line, despite the creature's enormous mass. Shoulder width exceeds human range by more than half, giving the torso a fortified outline, yet sound is almost non-existent, comparable to a buffalo walking on padded ground. The pace never changes. Calm, even, intentional. This is not aimless movement. Analysts suggest the corridor itself may be a habitual route, followed repeatedly over time. The creature makes no effort to avoid the camera's view, nor does it hesitate. It simply proceeds. If it willingly passes through the center of a monitored path, the question isn't why it appeared, but what destination it expected beyond the frame. A suburban motion sensor triggers from sudden impact. The security camera activates as a massive figure drops onto a backyard trampoline. The mat compresses nearly to the frame. The rebound is controlled, not erratic. Long fur ripples once, then settles. Analysts immediately note the contradiction. A body heavy enough to nearly bottom out, reinforced springs lands without losing balance. Tendon elasticity appears extreme, while a low center of gravity allows full control. Knees bend deep, arms extend wide, and the figure steps off smoothly, never stumbling. This isn't play, it's assessment. Biomechanics experts compare the motion to predators testing surfaces before committing weight. What unsettles reviewers most is the setting. This wasn't deep forest, it was a backyard. If it entered human space without hesitation, how often has it already stood just outside detection range, waiting for lights to fade and sensors to fall silent? A faded, grainy photograph shows a towering form stepping from thick brush onto a narrow woodland trail. The torso leans forward mid-stride. One arm parts branches effortlessly. Muscle definition shows even through blur. Despite the image's age, anatomical details remain clear. Shoulder width exceeds that of any known ape. Arm length suggests both locomotion and active interaction with the environment. The posture matches early hominid reconstructions. Upright, efficient, balanced. Experts note the absence of startle or aggression. The figure appears comfortable, moving through terrain it recognizes. Historians link the image to regional skookum accounts describing giants that reuse ancient forest routes generation after generation. If similar forms appear across decades of documentation, the evidence hasn't weakened with time. It has compounded. How many early images were dismissed simply because they surfaced before people were willing to consider what they showed? A winter phone recording captures a colossal shadow sliding between slender birch trunks in deep snow. No crunch of footsteps. Long fur brushes pale bark. The outline stays massive even at range. Researchers emphasize the near impossibility of the silence. The gait appears rolling and economical, consistent with adaptations for extreme cold. Layered fur, deep muscle padding, and wide weight distribution allow movement across snow without collapse or sound. Though its frame resembles industrial-scale mass, it moves with the control of a stalking predator. Snow displacement is minimal. There are no slips, no corrections. Analysts believe this points to an organism evolved specifically for winter travel, not merely enduring it. The figure never rushes, never hesitates. If something this large can move unseen through knee-deep snow, the unsettling conclusion may be that vanishing isn't a limitation of visibility, but a deliberate choice. A rain-soaked roadside video records a massive figure stepping onto wet pavement, with two smaller shapes following closely behind. The adult enters first. The smaller ones hurry to keep pace. All three disappear into trees within seconds. Biologists examining the footage highlight shared proportions. The juveniles mirror the adults' elongated arms, oversized hands, and rolling gait. The adult's shoulders spread wide like steel ramps, yet it slows deliberately to shield the smaller figures. The crossing itself is calculated, direct, efficient, and timed precisely between passing vehicles. The juveniles copy each movement, suggesting learned behavior rather than instinct alone. Experts argue this reflects coordinated decision-making and awareness of exposed danger zones. This isn't random motion, it's family travel. If groups like this are navigating roads intentionally, how many drivers have passed within meters of them, never realizing a silent family was waiting just beyond the edge of the headlights? A flashlight beam sweeps through an abandoned forest home, then freezes on a massive figure standing silently in the corner. It shifts its weight slowly. Dust lifts near its feet. Broad shoulders block the window behind it. Investigators describe proportions built for open wilderness, arms nearly touching the floor, dense fur clumped with moisture, and a heavy sloped skull shaped for strength. Yet here it stands indoors, not panicked, not trapped, simply present. Audio review captures a low, steady rumble beneath its breathing, like wind through stone layered with a bison's warning tone. The figure neither advances nor flees. It watches. Experts suggest curiosity, scavenging, or territorial assessment rather than aggression. Movement remains deliberate and silent. If it willingly enters structures humans have abandoned, the unsettling implication isn't intrusion, it's coexistence, unfolding quietly where our spaces overlap. As fog thins over a forested valley, a distant hiker films a lone figure traversing a slope above the tree line. The pace is even and unhurried. Arms swing low beneath thick hair. The torso tilts forward, balanced and deliberate. Biologists reviewing the footage note a build suited for endurance travel. Wide shoulders, elongated forearms, and a posture that conserves energy over uneven terrain. Though massive, the figure moves with an unnatural smoothness, adjusting effortlessly to rocks and incline. The path it follows is significant, along a ridgeline. Such routes appear repeatedly in historical and indigenous accounts describing large forest beings traveling high ground during misty conditions. There is no sign of fear or urgency. The figure does not react to being observed. It simply continues, as if following a route memorized long ago. If stories of giants crossing these hills predate modern trails by centuries, this footage may not represent a first encounter, but evidence that they never truly left. A hiker's phone records a towering, fur-covered figure stepping cleanly over a fallen log at the edge of a remote forest clearing. The mass clears the obstacle without effort. Long arms swing in steady rhythm. The body briefly fills the open space between pines. Analysts note a stride length far beyond human capability, optimized for uneven terrain and natural barriers. Shoulders spread wide like industrial shelving, yet the movement remains fluid, comparable to a fully loaded freezer sliding across the forest floor with unexpected grace. The fur appears dark and damp, suggesting long-term adaptation to wet environments rather than recent exposure. What stands out most is timing. This happens in full daylight, in open ground, with no attempt to hide. Experts suggest this reflects situational awareness rather than carelessness. The figure crosses quickly, decisively, then vanishes back into cover. If it reveals itself only when conditions feel controlled, how many others remain just behind the tree line, waiting patiently for hikers to pass? A lone hunter filming in Alabama backwoods raises his camera after hearing something heavy move through the pines. What emerges does not startle or rush. A massive form passes cleanly between trunks. Rain-darkened fur brushes branches without breaking them. Arms hang far below the waist as the head turns calmly. Frame-by-frame breakdown reveals shoulders nearly 70% broader than a human's, paired with a forward-leaning gait designed for stability rather than speed. Each step lands with precision, heavy yet silent. Analysts note spinal flexibility inconsistent with bears or known apes, suggesting shock-absorbing anatomy evolved specifically for forest travel. What stands out most is behavior. It does not flee, it does not confront, it allows itself to be seen. Researchers argue this visibility wasn't accidental. Choosing exposure over concealment implies confidence, and confidence suggests awareness, not instinct-driven reaction. A night vision camera opens on a forest clearing as three luminous figures move forward together. The tallest enters first. Two smaller shapes follow in synchronized rhythm. All three reflect sharply in infrared. Analysts immediately note spacing and timing, too precise to be random. The lead figure approaches 3 meters tall, shoulders spanning like a cold storage wall. The two behind share identical proportions at smaller scale. Step compression indicates enormous weight, placed softly, hinting at tendon systems built for silence. This is coordinated movement, group travel, rather than chance alignment. Some researchers suggest kin-based behavior, possibly perimeter checking or relocation through open ground. What unsettles investigators is the lack of urgency. Deep night, open clearing, no attempt at concealment. If these beings move confidently in groups, they aren't avoiding humans out of fear. They're avoiding us because they choose when to be seen. A security camera at a rural Alabama construction site captures chaos as a massive shape explodes from the forest edge. Workers scatter instantly, reflective vests streak across the frame. The figure surges forward with shocking speed. Despite arms extending past the knees and a torso built with bison-level musculature, the creature accelerates far faster than expected. Analysts observe tendon recoil patterns indicating explosive force paired with tight control. Fur appears slick and clumped, possibly from humidity or exertion, and motion blur comes from speed, not disorder. The most chilling detail is restraint. The figure does not pursue fleeing workers. It charges through open space, then veers away, as if asserting presence rather than attacking. If something this large can close distance in seconds and still choose disengagement, the implication isn't lack of power, it's deliberate control. A trembling phone camera records something moving beside a quiet lakeside path, too large to be wind, too deliberate to be chance. A heavy silhouette shifts sideways. Moist fur flashes briefly through gaps in the branches. Extended arms latch onto tree trunks with unsettling ease. Frame-by-frame analysis reveals limb ratios well outside human limits. The forearms stretch far beyond knee length, allowing controlled lateral travel through dense forest. Branches bend under its weight, yet no cracking sound follows. That silence is what disturbs researchers most. Animals of comparable mass announce themselves. This one does not. Unlike a bear, it never crashes or hesitates. Its movement is continuous, fluid, practiced. Specialists suggest a body engineered for three-dimensional navigation, trees, slopes, and ground alike. The most troubling conclusion isn't what the camera caught, but what it didn't: sound. If something that massive can pass within meters of a public trail unheard, how often has it already done so, while people walked by, completely unaware? A jittery handheld clip from thick wilderness shows a dark form slipping through tangled vegetation, almost glued to the ground. Leaves part, then close again. The body darts sideways in short, controlled bursts. Long limbs appear, vanish, then reappear. Analysts point out the posture immediately. This is not upright movement. The spine angles forward, shoulders spread wide, keeping the silhouette low while preserving speed. Arms extend well past the knees, suggesting a stalking gait rather than simple travel. Despite its bulk, estimated comparable to a large appliance on all fours, it moves with startling precision. Weight distribution appears even, reducing noise and vibration through the soil. Experts believe this isn't active hunting behavior, but proximity testing, approaching without detection, then withdrawing. The creature never charges, never lingers. It simply passes close, then disappears. That raises an unsettling idea. If something this large can move beneath the canopy without triggering alarm, how many times has it already crossed paths with humans? Close enough to touch, yet never seen. A police body camera records an impossible scene, a towering, fur-covered figure standing calmly on a suburban porch as officers approach. Its head turns slowly. A brief blue-white eye shine flashes under the light. Broad shoulders rise and fall with measured breathing. Experts emphasize composure. Standing over 2.4 meters tall with shoulders wider than most door frames, the figure shows no defensive posture. Arms hang loose, hands relaxed. The fur is dense and layered, suited for cold climates, yet clean and orderly. Analysts suggest this calm reflects situational awareness rather than fear. It neither retreats nor advances. It simply watches. For a body with the mass of industrial machinery and the balance of a trained athlete, such restraint is unsettling. If it understands boundaries well enough to pause on a doorstep, how often has it stood just outside human spaces, close enough to observe, but never close enough to be noticed? A night vision trail camera records a massive upright figure stepping into an open forest path, its chest faintly reflecting light. The torso appears partially bare, Arms swing low, nearly brushing the ground. Eyes glow softly, then fade. Biologists note an unusual fur distribution. Dense coverage blankets the limbs and back, while the chest shows thinner hair, revealing thick, well-defined musculature unseen in known primates. Shoulders flare outward at extreme angles, nearly 70% wider than human norms, while the spine tilts forward for silent travel. Each step rolls smoothly, weight distributed with precision. There is no tension, no urgency. The figure moves as if unchallenged. Experts argue this exposure signals confidence rather than carelessness. If one individual is willing to move openly like this, the unsettling thought is not what we see, but what remains deeper in the forest, choosing never to step into view. A barn security camera records a colossal figure leaning over a livestock fence as a farm dog charges forward, barking loudly. The creature grips the wooden rail. It does not advance. The dog halts abruptly, frozen in place. Handlers reviewing the footage highlight the contrast between size and restraint. Standing close to 3 meters tall, shoulders spanning the width of the gate, the figure could easily overwhelm the barrier. Instead, it remains completely still. Hands clamp the rail with visible strength, yet no pressure is applied. This posture suggests assessment, not threat, like a predator choosing not to commit. The dog's sudden stop implies recognition of dominance rather than provocation. Experts argue this restraint reflects advanced situational judgment. Built like industrial machinery, yet balanced and calm, the creature controls the encounter through inaction. If it can stand silently over livestock pens, how often has it watched from the darkness, choosing patience over intervention? Across forests, mountains, snowfields, and backyards, one pattern keeps returning. Presence without chaos, power without recklessness, and intelligence wrapped in silence. These moments don't feel like random sightings. They feel like brief overlaps between our world and something that has learned to remain unseen. Whether these figures watch, pass through, or retreat, they leave behind the same question. What shares these spaces with us when we're not looking? If these stories made you pause, wonder, or feel that quiet chill, you're not alone. Like, comment what stood out to you most, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered for more unexplained encounters waiting just beyond the tree line.